augmented reality as a tool or as an offering has been there for a long time, for almost about 8 or 9 or 10 years, right? But in the last 2 years, it's become very, very accessible and very exciting for us marketers. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I thought I can start by saying why AR is important and why AR is such a big deal right now. Here are 6 important key factors, I think, that contribute to why AR is becoming mainstream. The first thing is you don't need to download an app anymore to consume an AR experience. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, if you had to consume an augmented reality experience, 95% of the time you probably had to download an app. Obviously, thanks to Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, you can now consume augmented reality on these apps itself. Even on websites, you can now consume web AR. So your smartphones have become more powerful and your browsers on your smartphones have become more powerful so that you can consume AR on the web. The second reason, like I said, democratized AR thanks to social platforms. In the last 3 to 4 years, I think another thing that we can agree with is phones in general and processors on each of your phones has become much more powerful. So that basically enables users to consume augmented reality experiences. I already spoke about the emergence of web AR and improved smartphone browsers. Another very exciting reason why AR is really relevant for marketers is it's probably the only way you can unlock gesture-based messaging and gesture-based advertising, right? I will obviously talk about what are some of these interesting gestures that you can do on AR, whether it's web AR or social AR. And finally, I think we all can agree that with immersive and 3D, you can do much more versus 2D and a flat UI. Now, where does augmented reality come in the marketing funnel? So if you look at the classic marketing funnel, obviously it starts with awareness on the top with the final intent or the final objective of converting that awareness to a purchase. Now, there's all kinds of augmented reality experiences that you can build, and each of these AR experiences fall under different portions or different levels in the marketing funnel, right? So for awareness and interest, you can do really fun stuff like augmented reality games, augmented reality quizzes. One of the best examples is the gibberish style filter that went very viral. Another one that is going viral nowadays is where you have an augmented reality quiz where you just have to tilt your head left and right. So that's really good for awareness and interest. Now, when you come lower down the funnel where you're thinking about consideration, intent, and evaluation, this is where I think augmented reality plays a huge role, and probably no other solution or product can enable this as good as augmented reality, where you can have product try-ons, you can have product education, you can have product exploration. So whether it's try on lipsticks or try on jewelry, try on glasses, try on hats. And in Snapchat, recently we built something where you can try on shoes. So product try-ons, I think, is a huge thing that you can do in augmented reality, especially in the converting from consideration to intent and to evaluation. Product exploration is something very interesting where you can actually place a 3D product on a flat surface. Now, finally, in the evaluation and the purchase phase, if you think about Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat have specific advertising products where their objective is to convert people from the consideration, intent, and the evaluation to the purchase phase. So they have augmented reality ad products that you can marry with their AR filters that you can eventually convert to purchase. So this is where augmented reality comes in the marketing funnel. Now, what experiential marketing can you unlock? Like, what are some of the exciting things that you can do with augmented reality that you probably cannot do with any other platform, right? So this is a very quick kind of overview. You can have face and head tracking. You can have feet tracking, something very new in Snapchat. You can have hand tracking. You can have hand gesture tracking. So in Snapchat, where you can actually show of signs like this, or one finger or two finger, and it triggers something. You can have all kinds of facial expressions that will trigger something. You can have blink, smile, nod, open your mouth. So you can integrate this into games, into Tryons, and all kinds of things. With AR filters, you can also scan a product to unlock something. With the back camera, you can place a product in 3D and explore that product. Instagram and Facebook recently had a very interesting release where they now enable voice-enabled games, and I'll show you some examples of that. You can create portals, so you can actually create a store that you can place in 3D, and you can actually physically walk into and explore some products. Another exciting thing that you can do, and especially on Snapchat, is you can bring in your own machine learning models into Snapchat. So for example, let's say you are working on a machine learning model where you're feeding in thousands of images of the wrist to come up with your own ML model to identify a watch, right? So where you can place a watch. So you can actually bring in that machine learning model into Snapchat, and you can create an AR experience. And you can have things like voice changers, tracking your floor. So these are just a kind of a wide variety of AR experiences you can have in social and web AR. Now, so let's start with some examples with web AR, right? So here's a very quick demo, and you can actually scan this QR code, and you can actually open this URL on your own website, on your own smartphone, and try this out. So here's something we did where you can look at the furniture in 3D, and you can actually place this furniture and this piece of table in your environment, zoom in, zoom out, walk around it. And as the video plays, you will see that we have a few more elements and a few more objects like a microwave oven and a coffee maker that you can actually place in your 3D, in your environment to the actual size. Now, what are some of the advantages of this, right? So one, as you can see, we've shared some numbers. We've seen anywhere between 80 to 200% increase in time spent on the page when you have a 3D product and you can try. For e-commerce, we've seen anywhere between 2 to 3x increase in conversion rate. There's a 25 to 30% decrease in cart abandonments. Another interesting thing that we've seen is basically because of the real size of AR, you're seeing less and less number of returns. And as you can see, we've measured things like how does this increase purchase intent? So product visualization, both in 3D and in AR, we've seen increases purchase intent anywhere between 60 to 100%, right? So this is the coffee maker that I was talking about. And you can see the attention to detail. It's really, really good. So you can actually scan the QR code and try this web AR experience on your own. So next, I'll go on to AR on social, right? So on social, there's tons and tons of things that you can do. So I share about 8 or 10 examples, basically giving you an idea of different kinds of social AR that you can do, from games to front camera filters to back camera filters to product try-ons and all kinds of things, right? So let's start with this one. So the first one is an interesting game that we did for Bayer in the Middle East during Ramadan, where you have things falling and there's face tracking and mouth tracking where you need to actually catch the food. The next one is something very interesting for Pepsi, where you actually have to scan the Pepsi can and you unlock a dance. All of these have audio, and I've just muted these so that I can speak over my presentation. So you have a boom box, and then you have the brand message that goes around the Pepsi logo, and then you have a person dancing. The next one is something very exciting we did for Gulabo Sitabo for Amazon Prime, where we actually recreated Mirza's look, or Amitabh Bachchan's look, on Instagram. So we had some tremendous success with this. Millions and millions of people used it, lots of impressions. The one on the extreme right is something very interesting, where I talked about augmented reality quizzes. So this is a use case where you have questions that appear on top of your head, and you actually answer these questions by tilting your head left and right. And based on the answers you give, you get a result of what would be the right type of smartphone to buy. Now, this one was something we did for Inside Edge on the extreme left, where you have a helmet. So this has face tracking where you actually have a cricket helmet that comes on and you can choose what team that you support. For Infinity QX60, an automobile brand in the Middle East, we did something interesting where just the blink of your color changes the color of a car. So this is a very clever and a nice way to communicate to users the different colors that your color variants that your car or automobile has. And of course, this can be applied across products. For Dove, this is something we did where we married the prediction style filter and we gave users a new hairstyle, right? So you don't get to choose what hairstyle you want. You are randomly given a new hairstyle, and a lot of people had fun with that. On the extreme right was something very interesting we did for Wagoner, where you actually place the 3D of the car on a flat surface and you can explore. So this was actually activated on AR on Facebook and also married in with a print ad in the Times of India that users could scan and place the Wagoner in their environment. The one on the extreme left now is a brand new AR experience that we've launched, which is a shoe try-on. So Snapchat has feet tracking and it has ML models where we basically built a shoe try-on where you tap your heels and the shoe that you're wearing changes. So this is very cool. You can have a look at that as well. Now, this is another interesting quiz that we built for Snapchat that actually recognizes your hand gestures. So you use your palm for one answer and you use this sign for another answer. So we actually have 3 other hand gestures that Snapchat can track, which is 1 finger, 2 fingers, and a fist. So there's very interesting things you can do there as well. The next one was a very fun game that we built for Instagram and Facebook, where you're actually controlling the car by moving your head left and right? So the objective is to get coins and you finish the game. The one on the extreme right is something that we did. It was similar to the gibberish style filter, but it's more like guess the movie, guess the Bollywood movie. So we show an English translation and then we have to guess the Bollywood movie. For Big Boss for Viacom 18, we did an Instagram experience that basically took them to a whole new environment into the Big Boss house. So that is something interesting that we did as well. Finally, this example is brand new. It's a fresh AR build that we've created with some of the new features of Instagram, which is voice enabled. So I'll keep quiet for 30 seconds and you can see that every time I say something in this video, the character jumps. So as you can see, basically it's a voice-enabled game where every time I say something, the character jumps. Now, these are a bunch of examples. There's a lot more that you can do with augmented reality. So how does a brand, there's 2, I think, important points that I should address. How does a brand publish or promote an augmented reality experience? And what are some of the metrics that you can measure to see if an augmented reality experience has been successful or not? Now, in terms of how can you post or publish, there's a variety of ways you can do that. You can have stories with swipe up links. You can have a link in the bio. One of the best ways that we've seen work for us and for our clients is when influencers use AR filters. Now, in terms of metrics and what metrics work and what are the metrics that you're supposed to be measuring, I think it varies based on different campaigns. So for example, if your objective is someone has to try on a product and then eventually reach to the bottom of the marketing funnel and purchase, so you measure how many impressions, how many times a product was tried on to how much e-commerce sales were driven. Let's say the objective is more reach and frequency and engagement. Maybe if it's the OTT platform. There, you should be measuring impressions. You should be measuring how many times the filter was used. You should be measuring how many times the creation that you made with the filter was shared. So that's a quick summary of augmented reality on social AR, web AR, and AR gaming. I'm happy to take any questions if you want now.
Hello.
Hi, Kyati. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, great. So I have two questions here that have come up.
Okay.
First one is, what are the top things a brand should keep in mind while going forward with augmented reality?
Okay. I think the answer to that question is it primarily depends on what is your objective, right? So if your objective product exploration, you have different things to keep in mind. If your objective is product Tryon, it's different. If it's AR gaming, it's different, right? So based on what the objective of your augmented reality experience that you want to build, I think that is what is going to determine what a brand should keep in mind. The second thing that I'll say is I think more and more people want, the first thing that comes to mind when somebody says augmented reality is obviously they're looking forward to an experience that's immersive, that's top quality, and that's really good. So I think, do really good stuff with your 3D designs, use really good UI and UX, and make sure that you test on all kinds of devices to make sure that your AR works.
Absolutely. The next question is, actually, we got a lot of them suddenly.
Okay.
What challenges do you see in the future of augmented reality?
I think the challenges that I see in the future of augmented reality is I think consumers will more and more want almost a realistic experience, right? But then you do have to realize that, even with our clients, we have a joke that we say is, hey, keep in mind that AR is not actual reality, AR is augmented reality, right? So we always tell our clients that because, many times they feel that it should be as close to realistic as possible. So I think, that's going to be one of the biggest challenges, which is phones will improve, processor speeds will improve, 3D designs will improve, everything will improve. But at the end of the day, consumers have to realize that it is augmented reality and it's not close to actual reality. But I think maybe 5-10 years, even that might end up being that, it's almost 99% realistic.
Right. So can you cite any example of using augmented reality in B2B businesses?
So B2B businesses, what I have seen, there have been some good examples in training and education, right? So when it comes to product training, you have very interesting AR experiences where you scan something, and once you scan, you can actually look at the product itself, and with the hotspots, you learn about the product.
Yeah.
So in training and education is, I think, where B2B businesses can do AR very, very well. In HR also, I have seen some fun AR experiences where, if you have a brochure given to new employees that join, you scan the brochure and there's an interesting welcome message from the CEO or the head of HR. So in HR, I think there's some good B2B case studies for augmented reality as well.
All right. Our next question is, what is the conversion rate of awareness to purchase of using augmented reality?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. One thing I can tell you is from the work that we've done, the conversion rate is definitely higher than some of the other avenues of marketing or advertising. So that much I can say, right? So that's why in one of the slides I mentioned how the cart abandonments is lower. The brand recall is higher. So all of this leads to a higher conversion rate. And we've done A/B studies where we run ads where there's one set of ad with no AR and one set of ad with an AR, and the AR ad, the conversion rate from the top funnel to the bottom funnel on the AR ad is always been higher than versus a normal ad. So that's one thing that we've seen.
Right. Can also augmented reality help bridge the gap consumers feel as they aren't able to visit showrooms? And how?
That's a great question, and I'm sure the audience won't be surprised to know that the last 2-3 months actually we've got a lot of inquiries because of COVID. When it comes to product exploration, product education, recreating a showroom. So whether it's an automobile showroom, whether it's a mobile phone showroom, so there are possibilities and there are ways in which we can do things. So for example, I'll tell you, there's a very, very famous art gallery in the Middle East for which we're actually recreating the whole art gallery itself. So it is possible, but I think that is one case where it's very difficult to give an almost 100% showroom-like experience, because at the end of the day, your smartphone device is limited by what it can do. But compared to 3-4 years ago and now, we can recreate a showroom-style experience for sure.
Right. Our next question is, how can edtech startup make use of it, or rather fintech as well, if you can just talk about both of these industries?
So I think both for fintech and edtech, one of their eventual objectives, if you think about fintech and edtech, is to get the user to download that app so that they can use that app and do transactions or learn. So with that intention in mind, we have to come up with campaigns, whether it's an educative campaign, whether it's an engaging campaign with augmented reality. And like I said, you marry that with the ad products that Snapchat and Facebook has, where the objective is user experience augmented reality, and it drives purchase or it drives app downloads.
Yeah. All right. Our next question is, the magic mirror concept failed miserably for retail, but post-COVID, they're guessing that it will really work. Do you have any suggestions?
That's a very interesting, point. Yes, post-COVID, things have picked up, especially with the whole magic mirror concept. One thing I have seen, because we've been doing the whole AR thing for almost 2 to 3 years now, there has been no software or platform or even a marrying of a software and a hardware where body tracking has been done accurately. Almost all AR platforms have perfected tracking of the face to the smallest detail of lips and eyes and all of that. But when it comes to body tracking, full body tracking for trying on clothes, trying on accessories and all that, it hasn't reached perfection yet. So I don't think it can fully replace, but there are probably maybe 3 to 5 years from now, I think it might be possible. I mean, I'll give you an example. A lot of the retail clients in fashion get excited about AR when they come to us, thinking that we can do full body transformation with trying on new clothes and all that, and they do get disappointed when you say that full body tracking is not yet there. Probably will be there eventually.
Yeah. Yes. So we still have a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
Right. Our next question is, web-based augmented reality need hosting platforms. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah.
And which are they? And can we make augmented reality used FB ads that run on Facebook?
Okay, I think so. That's 2 questions. I'll split it up. So when you create a web-based AR experience, there's 2 ways to basically host. You have platforms like 8wall, where you can create your web AR experiences and use their tools to launch the web AR experience.
Advait, would you just repeat that? The screen got frozen. So.
Okay, I'm sorry. So what I was trying to say was, with web AR experiences, there's 2 ways you can go about doing this. So the first way is use platforms like 8wall and Zapper, where you use their tools and you use their solution to build web AR and launch it, right? So that's basically an web AR engine. What you can also do for some of the furniture experiences that we've shown is if you have your own server setup and you have your own backend tech setup, you can enable certain web AR experiences to work outside of these platforms as well. So there's 2 ways you can go about it. Now, the second part of the question, which was integrating a Facebook experience with AR ads. As I mentioned, Facebook has a specific ad product called AR ads. I would encourage users to just Google search Facebook AR ads, and you can learn all about that. So that's an ad product specifically for AR, where, say, for example, a lipstick company can, launch an AR ad with Tryon lipsticks with a link to a shop now button, which takes them to the e-commerce platform or their website.
Right. Amazing. I think this was a really interesting session. Thank you so much, Advait, for that wonderful information as well. I think everybody's taken a lot of takeaways from this, and we're still getting comments on this. So thank you so much. I think there's so much to look forward to apart from just what is happening currently. So thank you so much, Advait.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Khyati, and I hope the users found this useful. Thank you so much for the session, and happy World Social Media Day to everyone. Take care.
Thank you to you too. So yes, that was such an interesting conversation, and I'm sure you've taken a lot of information back home where I'm excited to see what augmented reality can do in the future from what it does currently.